Hello everyone, my name is Elijah David, minister of the 12th Apostolic Sabbatarian Congregation outside the 12th Hour in Liberty Hill, Texas. It is June 23, 2013, or it is the 15th day of the 4th month, 2017. We will start our first service on this first day of the week with a song entitled, Somebody Bigger Than You and I. Who made the mountain? Who made the tree? Who made the river flow to the sea? And who hung the moon in the starry sky? Somebody bigger than you and I. Who makes the flowers bloom in the spring? Who writes the song for the robin to sing? But who sends the rain when the earth is dry? Somebody bigger than you and I. He lights the way when the road is long, keeps you company, with love to guide you. He walks beside you, just like he walks with me. When I am weary, filled with despair, who gives me courage to go on from there? Who gives me faith that will never die? Somebody bigger than you and I. Syria in prophecy. Okay, Isaiah chapter 7. Okay, so the question is, what is Christianity, and who may take a hold of it, and who may miss it? Okay, now this is the text for address of Brother B.T. Hart, the Shepherd's Rod leader. Okay, March 25th, 1950. At his headquarters, and it's recorded in Time of Greetings, Volume 2, number 45 of the Shepherd's Rod's publication. So we're going to start right off. And we're going to say, we're going to ask the question, true Christianity is, we're going to make a statement, true Christianity is a growth. It is a plant-like, for the Yahshua himself is represented as a branch, Isaiah 11:1, and his kingdom as a mustard seed, Matthew 13:31 and 32, which after it is planted becomes a tree, the greatest of its kind, but since the literal tree must necessarily feed on the physical food, likewise, the spiritual tree must necessarily feed on the spiritual food, on such as the branch itself was fed. Therefore, the Yahshua himself, as the Son, shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son. All right, we can back up for a moment and read that again. Therefore the Yahweh Elohim the Father himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse evil and choose the good. Isaiah 7:14 and 15. Surely all of us agree that this passage of the Scripture is a forecast of the Emmanuel of Matthew 1:23. Yahshua, the Messiah, the Son of Yahweh, being born on this earth of a woman at his first advent. For the fact, however, that Yeshua ate all manner of the lawful food and was even accused of being a gluttonous man and a winebibber, Luke 7:34, eating with the publicans and sinners, Mark 2:16, makes it transparently clear that this diet of the butter and honey is not natural. Okay. So, it's not natural. Moreover, this butter and honey is not natural, but it is literal. Or this butter and honey is not literal. Moreover, the fact that butter and honey possesses absolutely no virtue to endue one with wisdom and will to choose the good and refuse evil, no more than do other articles of the food, shows conclusively that this butter and honey are figurative of something special. Okay? Just as the fly and the bee of Isaiah 7:18 are figurative of the Egypt and Assyria. Okay? And of what else could it be but of the spiritual food, the kind that builds up the moral character and makes one refuse the evil and choose the good? And from and from what source other than the Scriptures could such food come? And what else, moreover, could the honey represent but the sweet spirit of the Elohim that blesses everyone's sincere study of and simple faith in the Word? Okay. Manifestly, therefore, this butter and honey symbolism infallibly tells us that the Emmanuel, Yeshua, was unable to discern and overcome sin by his study of the Scriptures, by the digestion of its contents and allowing them to become a part of him. This was his sweetest delight. And as the symbolical honey reveals, thus it was that he said unto them, I have meat to eat that you know not of. John 4:32. And it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Yahweh, Elohim, Matthew 4:4. Accordingly, the truth is evident that Christianity is a spiritual plant, feeding on the word of the Elohim as unfolded by the sweet spirit of the truth. Consequently, if the Yeshua are exemplar, thuswise increased in the wisdom and in the favor of the Elohim of man, Luke 2:52, then it is even more essential that we, his followers, live on the same word, on the same butter and honey, if we are to possess true, life-sustaining, life-preserving Christianity. Indeed, we are told precisely that in the next verses of the Isaiah's prophecy, and it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep, and it shall come to pass for the abundance of the milk that they shall give, he shall eat butter and honey, or eat butter. For butter and honey shall everyone eat that is left in the land. Isaiah 7:21 and 22. Now, in these verses, inspiration directs our attention, to 3 butter-producing creatures, 2 sheep and a young cow, and 4 warns that only those who eat of their products will have the right to live in the land of the Elohim's people. None others, no, not anyone, will be there. Since therefore only those who eat of the butter, those who thus learn to refuse the evil and choose the good, are to be permitted to live in the Holy Land, all the more obvious it is that the butter is figurative of the spiritual food. And since its source of the supply is the 2 sheep and the young cow, It is of the absolute necessity that we explore in the realm of this Bible symbolism to find what they are. Okay, for the two sheep of a kind and not young are manifestly symbolical of the Old and the New Testaments, for the word which enables its recipients to choose the good and refuse the evil. Now keep in mind that the name of Yeshua in the Old Testament Hebrew language is Abaddon, meaning the word, the written word. And in the New Testament it's with the name Apollyon, meaning the written word in the Greek of the New Testament, meaning Yeshua's name in the New, as a word in the New Testament is Apollyon. Okay, the word which enables its recipients to choose the good and refuse the evil. So those that chose Yeshua, the word, in his day, the disciples, they learned how to choose the good and refuse the evil. Refuse the evil of that false god and so deity that those Pharisees were trying to push down everybody's throat there. And the cow being young and therefore of the later origin than the sheep, and it's also being of the larger size than they, it can accordingly only be figurative of the inspired writings of the latter origin and greater volume than the Bible itself. For the only such besides the Bible are those who bring unto us the testimony of the Yeshua, for the testimony of the Yeshua is with the spirit of the prophecy. And notice I added the preposition with, because without it, it reads, is the spirit of prophecy. No, the testimony of Yeshua is not the spirit of prophecy. It is joined to and with the spirit of the prophecy, which has already been recorded in the Word. So when Yeshua came on the scene in the live form of his Word, of the Word that represented him, then he became a living testimony, vocally speaking out the meaning of what was written already in the words that the Pharisees were usurping and adulterating and making lies out of with their voices and mouths speaking. So Yeshua comes with a voice and a mouth, speaking of the true testimony of the written word, which represents him in the scriptures. And that's found in Revelation 19:10. So let's read that again. For the testimony of Yeshua, the oral declared word, is with the spirit of prophecy, or you can say is in is a preposition, is in the spirit of the prophecy. And notice I said of the prophecy, not a prophecy. I added the article the after the preposition of, and I said now for the Yeshua is with or in the spirit of the prophecy found in Revelation 19:10, or the inspired interpretation of the scriptures. But it is also to be noted that this butter and honey are produced in the Christian era. That's in our day, folks. And we are definitely have been in the Christian era ever since the apostolic days, believe it or not. 2,000 years now we have been in the Christian era, for the New Testament time is earmarked for the Christian era, meaning everyone that believes in Yeshua, following that title that the Greeks give him in the place of the Messiah, that Christ. And so they made a whole lot to do out of that Christ. It's just a title given to replace the title Messiah. Messiah is a title of Yeshua. The Hebrew word for Yeshua is named the Son. So he gets the transliteration from Messiah to the Greek Latin Christ or Christo. And in the Latin terminology that the Catholics use so vociferously today as their core language, that they build everything upon, that Latin, pagan, heathen language. Christo in Latin means a sexual rubbing oil. So they couldn't think of a better name to give in the place of the title of Messiah, as something that alludes to something so derogatory as a sexual rubbing oil that they used back then. Okay, so those Catholics, pagan, Latin, heathen, and the Greeks joined up with them, and the Greeks are Jews now. Keep that in mind. They are a sect of the Jewish people. They're not a sect of the Gentiles, although they are commingled with the Gentiles, but the Greeks are Jews. Okay, and when we say Jews, we're talking about the house of Judah, the house of David. That's the reason why those Greeks got to have their part in the translation of the New Testament, because they were Jewish descendants. Okay, and those that are not Jewish descendants that translate new versions of the King James Scriptures are nothing but Gentiles, and they're infidel atheists for the most part, and they're all formed by Catholic committees that's headed by the Jesuits. The Jesuits is another order of things. The Jesuit was an order that was created in 1540 A.D. by Ignacio Loyola, and he was a devil let out of hell. He come out of the Catholic Church because he was at enmity with the Catholic Church. So he formed a military right arm of secret service spies for the Catholic Church and for themselves to infiltrate all religious organizations of the world, and all charitable organizations, and all government organizations, and all state organizations, and all colleges and universities and grade schools and grammar schools and kindergarten schools and preschoolers. They covered it all. They never missed a thing. There's over 22,000 Jesuits in the world today that are all over the world, and they only got one mission, and that is to destroy the world from within, all of the institutions of all the nations, wherever they may be. Wherever they have an educational or religious organization, that's where those Jesuit devils are at. Okay? And those Jesuits are the military right arm spy agency for the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church don't like them. They're enemies, but they have to tolerate them, especially now that they've got a Jesuit Pope. Okay, and I fell at his feet. Let us continue reading. At the feet of the one who unfolded the prophecy unto John the Revelator, to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not, I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of the Yahshua. Worship the Yahweh Elohim, for the testimony of the Yahshua is with, or in, the spirit of the prophecy, found in all the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation. And what does the spirit of the prophecy indicate? All right. You have a spirit of faith, you have a spirit of grace, you have the spirit of many different things, especially for each gift that was given unto man. And there's at least a half a dozen main gifts that's given unto man. And each one of those gifts are attended by the Spirit of Yahweh, one of those 7 eyes that runs to and fro in the earth. It represents the 7 spirits of Yahweh. Okay? So if you have any spiritual gift that Yahweh has given to you, as you were granted by Him, then you have a spirit of His that attends that gift, causing you to perform your gift with top excellence. So now to this world now. Here it is seen that as the prophecies were unfolded unto the John the Revelator by one of his brethren. Okay, that means this angel that appeared to him on the Isle of Patmos and gave him these revelations and messages, where he published all of his things in the book of Revelation. Thereby was revealed unto him the testimony of Yahshua. in the spirit of the prophecy that is found in all the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation. Now keep in mind that revelation means to reveal, or means to unfold, means to bring the fulfillment of all these prophecies that had gone before and explain fully, and at the time that these prophecies are unfolded and meet their fulfillment, then that will mean that Revelation is revealing by the spirit of inspiration the things contained in the prophecies in her book. Then, as the inspired servant of Elohim, Ellen G. White, who bears a message, the inspired servant, this angel of the Yahweh, who appears unto John, who bears a message unto his brethren, bears a testimony of Yahshua unto them. For the illustrating, let us suppose that the Yahshua Messiah communicated of a personal message unto you by a messenger, but not his message be his testimony unto you. And should Elohim endow the messenger with the gift of his spirit to unfold unto you the prophecies which are in the scriptures, would he not be coming unto you with the spirit of the prophecy? Or would he not be coming? And here it is right here. Written, actually, there's a prepositional phrase, coming to you with the spirit of the prophecy. The only thing they missed here, they left out the article behind the preposition of, saying the prophecy. There's a difference in spirit of prophecy and spirit of the prophecy. Because when you say the prophecy, you're talking about one specific prophecy. But if you say spirit of prophecy, then you're talking collectively about all the prophecies. But when you add the article the, then it makes it zeroes in on one prophecy of the many out there. You see the difference in why it's important to put these words in there that were left out by the translators? You have to put the correct, especially the prepositions and articles that have been so blatantly left out of the translations of the scriptures. Now let me tell you something. Everywhere you see a preposition in scriptures, there's supposed to be an appropriate article to go behind it. Either a definite article or an indefinite article. A definite article is the word the, as an example. An indefinite article is the letter A. Okay? Either one or two of those articles need to be put behind every preposition, and the prepositions that I'd ask you all to look for, mainly, is about 7 of them. Look for, of, with, in, by, through, and then you use the compound prepositions within, unto, etc. Now, when you see those prepositions, or compound preposition, always find an appropriate article to put behind that word, and you'll get a different meaning of that sentence than what is actually in front of you there. Your mind will automatically decipher a different meaning, just like I did a while ago when I put that article, the spirit of the prophecy. It's talking about the prophecy of what it's talking about. If it's talking about a certain prophecy in Revelation, then that's the spirit of the prophecy that's unfolding on that particular prophecy. Like the book of the 7 seals, when it comes time for that 7th seal to be opened, Revelation 8, verse 1 and 2. You say, the spirit of the prophecy pertaining to this book of the 7th seal in Revelation 8, and here's the interpretation thereof. But if you say spirit of prophecy, the prophecies in the book of Revelation, you're talking about 22 books of the Revelation with many, many prophecies in it. Which one are you talking about? You're talking about all of them collectively? They don't all fulfill at the same time collectively. That's why you have to separate them with prepositions, articles, and noun in that order. And then after the noun comes the verb. And then after the verb comes the conjunction. And then after that you start all over again with preposition, article, noun, verb, and conjunction. Those 5 procedures in that order is using the correct vernacular of the English language. Okay, and that way you get a proper understanding of what you read about if you will rearrange all of your wordings and everything you read in that order. Always start your sentences with a preposition. For, or of, or in, or through, or by. Those prepositions are your main hard prepositions that you use 90% of the time. All right. Let's continue. Thus it is clear that the testimony of Yeshua and the spirit of prophecy are synonymous terms for a timely message sent from the Elohim. Meet in the due season. For the spirit of the prophecy, okay, therefore, is the Elohim's means of the communicating from the heaven. Now, from is also a preposition, but from is not a present tense preposition. I never use it, except when somebody else has already written it and use it, I read what they say. I never use the preposition from, and I never use the future preposition to, to. I may use up to, a compound preposition, or into, or unto, or whatever. Okay? And usually you can replace that past tense preposition from with the present tense preposition with, or of, or for, or by, or through. You can always replace past tense preposition, and that's about the main one you'll have is that word from. Okay. As we have already seen that the two sheep are symbolical of the Old and the New Testament, we now see also that the young cow, and here's another situation I'll explain to you. Viti Halef starts a lot of his sentences with a pronoun, we. Like he says, we, and now she also. But he used 4 words right in a row that is improper grammar. But nevertheless, it gets the point across. It explains to you what he's trying to say up front, and this is what's important. So he says, we now see also that the young cow is with the symbolization of the inspired interpretations of the scriptures. And I try to use scriptures in place of the word and that pagan term Bible. Scriptures is more appropriate. For the spirit of prophecy in our day, it is now obvious that the product of these 3 creatures necessarily must become our spiritual guide if we expect to be left and permitted to live in the Holy Land, and that there is no use of our thinking to abide the judgment in some other way. And if there remain any doubt about this, then consider please what the Apostle Peter says on the subject. Now, he says, we have also a more sure word of the prophecy, whereunto ye do well to take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place until the day dawn, and the day star arise in your hearts. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the Scripture is of any private interpretation. For the prophecy came not in the old time by the will of the man, only holy men of the Elohim spake as they were moved by the Yahweh Spirit. 2 Peter 1:19-21. Now, I want to go back and do a little review here of the main context of what I was really wanting to get across, and that was the interpretation about these 2 sheep and this young cow that's younger and bigger than they are. The 2 sheep represents the Old and New Testament. The 2 sheep are symbolized by those 2 olive trees in Zechariah 4. That's on the left side and the right side of that golden bowl on the top of that candlestick there in Zechariah 4. Candlestick represents the sanctuary service of Israel. The golden bowl represents the spirit of the prophecy that is there to be filled up of all of the spirit of prophecy coming out of the Old Testament and the New Testament coming out of those 2 olive trees. That represents the Old and New Testament, with golden pipes coming out of the olive trees into the golden bowl. And that's on top there. And actually I have a chart on this. And it says, we now see also that the young cow is symbolic of the inspired interpretation of the Scripture. For the spirit of the prophecy in our day, it is now obvious that the product of these three creatures necessarily must become our spiritual diet if we expect to be left and permitted to live in the Holy Land, and that there is no use of thinking about the judgment in some other way. And if there remain any doubt about this, then consider please what the Apostle Peter says on this subject. Now I'm going to take a moment here to turn this chart of the golden bowl if I can find it quickly. Now in Isaiah 7:21, I will read again. And it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep. And it shall come to pass, for the abundance of the milk that they shall give, he shall eat butter, for butter and honey shall everyone eat that is left in the land. Okay. Now, this young cow and 2 sheep, as we have tried to explain earlier, the young cow represents this golden bowl in Zechariah 4. Now, as we turn to Zechariah 4, we'll read about it. It says, and the angel of the Yahweh talked with me, came again and waked me, as a man that is wakened out of his sleep, and said unto me, what seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick, all of gold. Okay, now here's this candlestick, all of gold, with 7 lamps on it. And with a bowl on top of it. Here's the bowl, a golden bowl. And written in this bowl is the spirit of the prophecy. The same thing in Revelation 19:10, spirit of the prophecy. So when Yeshua comes in Revelation 19:10, representing the spirit of the prophecy, with the testimony of the spirit of the prophecy, he's talking about the things that are contained in this golden bowl in Zechariah 4. And you see these olive trees on each side right here? They represent the Old and the New Testament. The 2 sheep, the twins, the milk-producing animals, 2 sheep. This young cow represents this golden bowl. All this compacted prophecy, the spirit of prophecy, is coming out of the Old and New Testament, flowing together in the Revelation in our time, in the 12th parabolic hour, with the inspired unfolding and fulfillment of the prophecies that are found written in the book of Revelation. Okay? So, this is what we're talking about. This young cow here in Isaiah 7:21, young cow and 2 sheep, all 3 milk-producing creatures. But the cow represents a much larger animal than either one of these sheep. And so there are volumes and volumes of the spirit of prophecy that is written today in word and manuscript outside of these scriptures of the Old and New Testament. And incidentally, these 2 olive trees are the same thing as those 2 witnesses in Revelation 11. So here we have Zechariah way before the New Testament began, with a vision about the Old New Testament represented by as the 2 witnesses in Revelation 11 in our day. So now, the spirit of prophecy, it's got Ellen G. White's writings in it. Whatever she wrote in the way of inspiration to further the cause of Israel and to further the fulfillment of prophecy is found in this golden bowl of Zechariah 4. And whatever V.T. Hollis wrote in the Rod publication, which I'm reading from today, is called The Latter Rain of Truth. Okay. Ellen G. White's spirit of prophecy she put in this golden bowl is called The Former Rain of Truth. Okay. The former reign of truth began at the cross, and Yeshua's resurrection. The former reign has been ongoing for 2,000 years. The latter reign has only been ongoing in a few years here in the end time. But the former rain and the latter rain falls together in the first month, starts the judgment of the living here in the New Testament. That happened in 2002, starting in Kermit, Texas. And so there you have it. So the spirit of prophecy that Yahshua talked about that he was a testimony to, well, he is a testimony because Yahshua, a written word that was named after him, Abaddon, Old Testament, Apollyon, New Testament, are the names of the scriptures of our Savior Yahshua. So, he's represented by the Old and New Testament, the two olive trees. He's represented by those two witnesses in Revelation 11. Okay. He's represented by this golden bowl, compacted spirit of prophecy. Okay. Meaning that all the spirit of prophecy from the Old Testament, from Genesis, from the Garden of Eden, carrying down to our day, this is a last day event, is dovetailing into this here golden bowl. And this golden bowl could be called the golden bowl of revelation. Because this is when this information is coming into this golden bowl. All the prophecies that have been prophesied since the garden gates of Eden until the end time is all put into this golden bowl. And this golden bowl represents the book of the Revelation where this spirit of prophecy is being filled up at, this bowl, during the end time. Okay, having said all that, let us get back to our reading now. Actually, let's go into our reading of this little War News forecast, also a tract by the Isiah, and he deals with the same subject here of Syria in prophecy, and starting with Isaiah 7 and 8. Now let's go read the commentary taken from the War News forecast, and leave off where we time of reading volume 2, number 45, where we were reading from, of the Isiah, because in both places are collaborating this same prophecy, and Zechariah 4 is the prophecy that has to be interpreted, and Syria and Assyria and Israel, the three together. When I say Israel, I'm talking about the 10 northern tribes that went into captivity in the north, that were taken over by Assyria. And so Assyria, and not only that, but they were also taken over by Syria. Syria, Assyria, and those apostatized 10 tribes of Israel that was up in the north, where they had Samaria as their headquarters. And they were the descendants of Ephraim, which is the son of Joseph coming out of Egypt. Okay. All those down in Judah are descendants of David. Those in the north, the 10 tribes that were in captivity in the north, that joined Assyria, Syria, and Syria, and they remained aloof from the 2 tribes of Judah in the south. So they became enemies against their own brothers, the 10 tribes against the 2 tribes here. So the 10 tribes went to Assyria, the ones that took them captive, and tried to get an ally with them, and went to Syria to get an ally with them to vex Judah, to go down south and vex Judah, and to take Judah and set up another king in her. But David had the dynasty of Judah, and he was the king that was set up by prophecy and anointed as such. And the king of the north, Jeroboam, could not break that prophecy, and going down trying to vex Judah and set up one of his own choices for a king on the throne of David. Yahweh wouldn't allow it, so he said, though Syria, Assyria, and the 10 northern tribes come together in a conspiracy to go down south and vex your brother Judah, he said it will not happen. He said, I'll punish Syria, and I'll punish Assyria, and I'll punish those 10 tribes, and and for this conspiracy that they're planning on doing against their brother David, Judah. Now let's read about it here in one of these forecasts, once again by the B.T. Hollis. And he wrote this back during World War II, early 40s, because he thought, and he believed that the World War II was fitting in with the fulfillment of this prophecy. Well, it was the beginning, but we're writing the ending, okay? Let's go now. We're on page 30 here of this little booklet, and it says, the background of their plight and the dietetic cure. The dietetic cure would be butter and honey, and we're going to learn, but let's find out more about it. Let's start with Isaiah chapter 7, verse 1 through 16. And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of the Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, now get this, Syria's in the news today. They still haven't given up on going down south and vexing Jerusalem today. That's why Yahweh has sent a scourge upon them and punishing the king of Syria today, and will overthrow him because it's in prophecy for him wanting to vex Judah, okay, by conspiring with the 10 tribes in the north of Israel, conspiring with Assyria to have a three-way union to go down there into Judah and vex Judah and set up their own government and set their own king upon that throne. What does that sound like today? The Assyrian came across our waters today, and they brought them a candidate to be president here in the United States from their land, Kenya, Africa. They brought this man here, and a conspiracy was to sit him upon the throne of the White House, and they have accomplished their mission. Now what is the end result of them? They will be total annihilation and destruction. But nevertheless, they have to stay and do their work. They got to bring down this here totalitarian regime of the United States that has evolved into a totalitarian dynasty of a sort. And so this has to be brought down, and Yahweh is using a scourge from across the waters, just like he used Nebuchadnezzar to go down south and vex Judah and take them captive for 70 years. He said he put in Nebuchadnezzar's heart to do it, he gave him power to do it, and nothing Judah could do about it. Same thing today. He sent over the President of the United States that's now acting. He sent him across them waters to come and bring this corrupt, evil, backsliding, great Republic of the United States of America to her knees and to grind her into the dust of the ground. Okay. But the scriptures and the prophecy says she will rise. After all this, America is going to rise again and shake their dust off, and they're going to form a whole new government in line with the laws of heaven, and they will have peace forevermore. It is told in the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim. Now Ephraim is the son of Joseph. Ephraim is the head of the 10 tribes of Israel. And his heart was moved, and the heart of his people, as the trees of the wood are moved with the wind. Okay? Because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have taken evil counsel against thee, talking about against Judah, saying, let us go up against Judah and vex it, and let us make a breach therein for us, and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabiel. Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass, for the land of Syria is Damascus, not heaven. Okay? And the head of Damascus is risen, not the Yahweh. And within 65 years shall Ephraim, the 10-tribe kingdom, be broken, that it be not a people. And the head of Ephraim is a Samaria, not heaven. And the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son, not the Yeshua. If you will not believe, surely you shall not be established. So now if you don't believe all of this, then you won't be established on this prophecy and be chosen as the leaders to rise up and be a challenge to this prophecy as it meets its fulfillment. And it's meeting its fulfillment today, even as we speak. Look what's happened to Syria today. Yahweh has raised up this scourge for the United States, modern day Nebuchadnezzar, the President of the United States, to lead out in vexing Syria's president, because, see, in the heart of Assad over there, the president of Syria today, he hates Jerusalem. But now keep in mind, there is a secular Christian faction of Muslims there in Syria today that believes in and supports Israel, Jerusalem. So you have two classes of people in Syria. You have those Christians, and then you have those infidel atheist Muslims that hates, but because Assad cannot get that job done by himself, he's wanting to invade Israel from the north to the Golden Heights by himself. He wants the credit for defeating Israel on his own, which Obama and son here in this country, that's back in the Black Muslim Brotherhood in the Middle East, knows that that's impossible for one Arab nation or Muslim nation to come up against Jerusalem to try to get the credit for it, for winning the battle. You cannot going to do that. Most nations know it's going to take all nations of the world collectively to work together if they're going to defeat Yeshua and Yahweh Elohim that has come down to defend Jerusalem. Yahweh the Father and Yeshua his Son are there in person, invisibly, right today. And it's the Spirit of Yahweh and his Son that is causing all these Arab nations and Obama and them to organize a coalition of nations to come against Jerusalem to battle. Now folks, keep in mind that that is a type. That is a type of all nations at the end of the millennium being again resurrected, all of them, all the wicked, representing all the nations of this earth, with Lucifer at the head of them, once again leading the charge. Says we can go up and take that city. So Lucifer and those wicked are going to be resurrected, and they're going to be loose for a short season to make munitions of war and weapons of war, and they're going to, that short season is 100 years, folks, I will tell you that. So Satan and all the wicked at the end of the millennium are going to be resurrected, wicked. That's Satan's vast army, and he has to wait for their resurrection before he can form. They have 100 years. That prophecy is found in Isaiah 65 to formulate weapons of war and to get ready to take that holy city. The one that they failed to take here in Zechariah 14, this side of the millennium, which that battle is shaping up right now. All nations are coming up against Jerusalem to battle here in Zechariah 14. They will be defeated, and the prophecy says that they're defeated. Read Zechariah 14. Well, that same defeat is going to be carried on after the millennium. To Lucifer and his last stand with that great armies of the earth, the wicked from the creation, with Cain is one of those wicked that's going to be in that great army of the wicked at the end of the millennium. All the wicked for 6,000 years are going to be in Satan's army at the end of the millennium, and he's going to muster all of them to the battle to take the great city. No doubt there's going to be billions upon billions of wicked people. They're going to be as the sand of the sea. But yet, fire comes down from Yahweh out of heaven and mercifully consumes them all and wipes them off along with the whole face of the earth. Okay, folks. Let us continue. Moreover, the Yahweh spake again unto me, saying, unto Ahaz, saying, ask thee a sign of the Yahweh Elohim. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Yahweh. And he said, hear ye now, O house of the David. He's talking to me today. I represent the house of David today, even as we speak. And this prophecy is now unfolding to this house of David. So when it says, Hear ye now, hear ye now. That means right now, present tense. O house of the David, this is talking about to Elijah David. Is it a small thing for you to weary man? He's talking about the David in the type. We're talking about these Pharisees that cross-represent the house of David. Okay? But will you weary my Elohim also? Therefore the Yahshua himself shall give you a sign, or the Yahweh himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land Syria and Israel, that thou abhorrest, shall be forsaken both of her king, Rezin and Pekah. Let's read that again. For before the child should know how to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land of Syria and Israel, that thou abhorrest, shall be forsaken of both her kings. Now it's talking about Israel, the 10 tribes in the north, going to be forsaken of her king. Okay, and it says, Syria and Israel, and that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings, Rezin and Pekah. All right, let's go right on into chapters 8 of Isaiah, verses 1 to 8. Moreover, the Yahweh said unto me, take thee a great roll and write in it with a man's pen concerning Maher-shalal-Hash-Baz. That's the first son of Isaiah. And Isaiah had 2 sons. The second one was named Emmanuel. Okay. Let's go ahead. And I took unto me faithful witnesses to record Uriah the priest and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah. And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Yahweh unto me, call his name Maher-shalal-Hash-Baz, for before the child shall know, have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria. But Yahweh spake also unto me again, saying, forasmuch as this people Israel refuses the waters of Shiloh, the protective host of heaven, that go softly and rejoice in Rezin and Remaliah's son, glorify or glory in their national government. Now therefore, behold, the Yahweh bringeth up upon them the waters of the river, strong and many, even the king of Assyria and all his glory, and he shall come up over all his channels and go over all his banks. And he shall pass through Judah, house of David, lawgiver. He shall overflow and go over. He shall reach even unto the neck, and the threshing out of his wings shall fill the breadth of thy land, O Emmanuel. Okay. Now the Emmanuel's land is the land of Judah. That is through the ancient Judah. No, that is though that the ancient Judah was not to suffer defeat by the confederacy of Israel, the 10 tribes in the north. That was confederacy with Syria. She was nevertheless also be brought under tribute unto ancient Assyria. And as we shall see, the spirit of this confederacy did not end with that of the ancient Israel, the 10 tribes, conspiring against their brother in the south, Judah and Benjamin. So it says, did not end with that of ancient Israel and Syria. The high points of this confederacy, some of which are still unfulfilled, fall into the sequence thusly. Number 1, the overthrow of both the ancient Israel and Syria by the ancient Assyria. Now today, the antitypical Assyria, Obama, are leading the way with that black Muslim brotherhood that are supplying arms to the rebels that are in there to overthrow Syria today, and they will get the job done because they represent this antitypical Assyria that did it in the type. Okay, for the overthrow of both ancient Israel and Syria by the ancient Assyria as a divine judgment, especially upon Israel for confederating against her own brethren, the kingdom of Judah, house of David. And this is who Obama is actually after today. This Assyrian yoke is after Judah, the house of David. That is sequestered right here in the confines of Texas. And you'll find that in Isaiah 7, 2-9. Number 2, for the birth of a man, child, Emmanuel, to a virgin for a sign unto the house of David. Okay, now Maher-shalal-Hash-baz is the first son of Isaiah that was born of the flesh, but was not born to the house of David. It was born into the 10 tribes in the north. Number 3, the birth of a son, Maher-shalal-Hash-baz, unto the prophet himself for signs and for wonders in Israel, the 10 tribes, Isaiah 8:18. Not for a sign and wonder in Judah, the 2 tribes. Number 4, for the overthrow of Israel to occur before Emmanuel could learn to differentiate evil from the good, and before Maher-shalal-Hash-baz to say my father and my mother, Isaiah 7:16, Isaiah 8:4. In the amplification of this cluster of the events, several facts stand out in the unmistakable self-interpretation. Number 1, Emmanuel, by virtue of his virgin birth and his name Yahweh Elohim with us, meaning Yahshua in the flesh is representing his Father, okay, that's invisible in the heavens, Matthew 1:22. Can only be Yahshua with us, so it actually can only be Yahshua. Number 2, he was born for a sign that the unholy alliance between Israel and Syria was to come to naught. So is it any matter why Syria is being overthrown today? Because she will be overthrown. Number 3, the lands Israel and Syria, which Judah abhorred, were to be forsaken of both their kings. So the king of the 10 tribes of Israel in the north, okay, and the king of Syria is going to be forsaken of both their kings. Conquered by the king of Assyria, Obama and company today. But Obama is the king of Assyria today. Before Emmanuel was to be able to refuse evil and choose the good, and before Maher-shalal-Hash-baz was to be able to say my father and my mother, okay, before anybody in the world today can understand what's going on over there in Syria, in the Middle East, know for certainty that the powers behind the overthrow of those governments, and keep in mind now, when you overthrow Syria, which is in the north, same place that Ephraim, the capital of the 10 tribes of Israel, is in the north, over there, then you can understand then why the overthrow of the north of both their kings. Okay. Well, that actually brings the end of our study. This hour contest. That's at the 11th hour call, and that's number 11. Click on our audio archives to hear this message and more. We're going to close now with a song entitled Life's Railway to Heaven. Life is like a mountain railroad with an engine that's brave. We must make the run successful from the cradle to the grave. Watch the curves, the fills that tunnel, never falter, never quail. Keep your hand upon the throttle and your eye upon the rail. Blessed Savior, thou wilt guide us, and we reach that blissful shore, where the angels wait to join us in the praise forevermore. You will roll the bridge of trials, you will cross the bridge of strife. See that Yahshua is your conductor on this lightning train of life. Always mindful of obstruction, do your duty, never fail. Keep your hand upon the throttle and your eye upon the rail. Blessed Savior, thou wilt guide us, how he reads that blissful shore, where the angels wait to join us in the praise forevermore. We'll often find obstruction, look for storms and wind and rain, on a film of curved trestles, they will always ditch your train. But your trust alone in Yahshua, never falter, never fail. Keep your hand upon the throttle and your eyes upon the rail. Blessed Savior, thou wilt guide us, every reach that blissful shore, where the angels wait to join us in the praise forevermore. As you roll across the threshold, spanning Jordan's swaying tide, to behold the Union Depot, into which your train will glide. There you'll meet the superintendent, joined with the Father and His Son. As the heart is joyous plaudit, weary pilgrim, welcome home. Blessed Savior, thou wilt guide us, now we will reach that blissful shore, where the